What if I told you that one of the funkiest drum beats of the last 20 years was something everybody kind of forgot about? Nowadays, everybody wants to play this J.D. Beck style I love, which Forrest Rice calls Buff Hello Kitty. Or the J Dilla beats I also love, influenced in large part by Chris Dave. Or the straight 8/16 style from drummers like Clyde Stubblefield, Harvey Mason, and James Gadson, which modern drummers like Nate Smith, Corey Fonville, and countless others are bringing back. Or the splash cymbal on the snare thing that players like Nate Wood started. But aren't we leaving something out? This is a video from Dennis Chambers from the early 90s. The 90s, man! Here's a video of Spanky McCurdy from the early 2000s. This right-hand lead on the snare with the non-lead hand on the hi-hats was funky. This could have changed how everybody played funk beats. And then it just kind of disappeared. Well, I'm Nate, and people call me the 80/20 drummer, and today we're gonna resurrect it. We'll look at a couple places it could be hiding, then we'll introduce you to a couple of relatively easy exercises to try to get it in your playing more. Stay tuned. And folks, you might be used to this, but we're going to cover a lot of beats in this lesson, and you might be tempted to transcribe some. I'm here to tell you, you do not have to do that. We've done it for you. You can get it for free by clicking the link below the player and telling us where to send it on the next page. Now, on with the lesson. Let's first talk about exactly what we mean. It's a style that looks like open-handed playing, like Simon Phillips or Lewis Cole do. The lead hand, instead of staying on the hi-hats, is on the snare, and the non-lead hand is on the hats. But this is not open-handed playing. Open-handed playing means you swap the lead hand depending on which side of the kit you're on. So when Simon Phillips plays the hi-hats, he's actually leading with his left hand, playing things that we righties would play right-hand lead, with the sticking just reversed. But the style of playing I'm talking about is not that. It mostly maintains the lead hand lead. It just changes the instrumentation. For a super crude example, here I'm playing a hopefully funky beat with my right hand on the hats, and now, maintaining the sticking, I'll just swap the position of my hands. I'm not sure what to call this. Maybe inverted playing, or something like that. Anyway, let's quickly talk about the history. The first drummer I noticed doing this a bunch was Spanky McCurdy. You can see a bit of it in this video. But one of the first viral videos of Spanky was this, from the early 2000s. But as I recently discovered, Spanky was far from the first drummer to play like this. Here's Dennis Chambers in his DVD Serious Moves from 1992. If I were to speculate, it might be that Dennis saw one of his heroes, Billy Cobham, playing open-handed and wanted to duplicate some of that vibe, even though Dennis is a righty who plays mostly strong hand lead. But this is entirely speculation, until Dennis comes on the podcast. But as I've said, after Spanky, we didn't see super widespread adoption of this style. I'll talk later in the video about where I think the inverted strong hand lead playing might have ended up. But first, are you ready to learn some beats? It's basically use patterns to guide you to something interesting, then use taste to adjust. There are no hard and fast rules. It's about finding the sounds you like. I'll show you what I mean. If we start with the paradiddle between the hands, with the lead hand on the hats and catching the backbeat on 2 and 4, we can just invert the hands, and that's a starting point. Personally, I think it sounds cooler without any doubles on the hats. So I'll adjust the pattern slightly to something more linear by throwing a couple of kick drum notes in. Just a reminder that all these basic beats will be transcribed for you at the link below. And actually, quick aside. I've read some of the comments asking for transcriptions on the screen. We try to make that happen when we can, but I'm one of the only solo drum YouTubers who tries to upload a video every week. Blah, 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 blah. So we'll do it if we can. If we can't, you can get it by clicking below. Anyway, next thing I like to do. Use the inverted stuff sparingly like a texture. So let's take this linear beat again, and I'll try to keep it simple for people who want to try to learn it. And I'll just think musically about where to switch the hands. Now, let me cook a little. I don't expect everybody to copy this, but this is more to show you how I use improvisation to extend the ideas. I'll give you one more I've been playing with, which is more like a slow party shuffle. Almost jazz waltz tempo, but a slightly obnoxious jazz waltz. Here's the original beat. Now here I am adding some spanky to the hi-hat pattern. Now here I am using the hand inversion. In this case, I think the pattern sounds really cool with that snare dot on the upbeat, but your mileage may vary. Those are just two examples you can play with. Okay, let's talk about what happened. Because, as I said, you don't really see too many modern drummers doing this. Not nearly as often as you see the Nate Smith stuff. Or Buff Hello Kitty. But you still do see it. It's just been absorbed into other styles. Take Mark Guiliana. For a while, he was using inversion as a tool in his tool belt. Even JD Beck, amongst a lot of other things he does, plays things that sound like they're strong head lead sticking, but with inverted surfaces. They're just cleverly disguised. I guess where this cashes out is the older I get, and the more I realize I can't ape every trend I see on Instagram. They're just happening too fast. The more I start to think about being an individual and going deeper into what interests me. And one of the best ways to do that, in my opinion, is to broaden your range of influences. It's also natural to have broader interests as you get older and want more variety.
And that's how you get the gig.
Anyway, hope you guys dug that. Have I missed anything in the retelling or history of this beat? Leave a comment below, a polite one. And just a reminder that if you'd like a completely free transcription of this, you can get that by clicking the link below the player and telling us where to send it. Dudes, it's been real. Always enjoy these. See you again real soon in another Last End of the Week.